So as you can see, the consumer really demands a lot in their phones. Let's talk a little bit about what's in the phone now. So talk a little bit about our chips. So you'll hear a lot about this today, but Snapdragon is really what we've been spending a lot of time working on. It's our all-in-one mobile processor. What we did, we took an approach which we said, you know what, in order to enable this vision, you need to have many different types of technology delivered in a very small package. And really what that means is you got to have the world's best CPU, you got to have the world's best connectivity, including the modem. You got to have multimedia that enables you to do all the things that Jay showed you, as well as all of the just enormous amount of content generation, as well as consumption that occurs on the device. And you got to do it all in a particular battery life. Essentially, what it comes down to is that the design point for mobile computing is so different than the design point for plugged-in computing that you got to have something different. And that's why we came up with Snapdragon. So I'm going to talk a little bit about one of the areas, or we're going to show one of the areas that we have in here, which is mobile GPUs. And I forgot to mention earlier when we were talking about all the things that the company has done, but we are actually the largest supplier of graphics engines in the world. And it's really because we supply them into mobile devices, which are the biggest and probably the most demanding user of graphics engines. So Anita's going to come up and talk to us a little bit about, show us a little bit about how the latest Snapdragon graphics engine is working.
Good morning. I'm excited to be here on the latest generation of our chipset and excited about the quad performance and optimal battery life. So what's special? Let's get into some features. Well, it's quad core with up to 1.7. That's over 6 gigahertz of processing power. Pretty impressive. Add that with Adreno 320, which is 3 to 4 times more powerful than what's in the market today with Adreno 225. Then of course you get 1080p HD video, stunning surround sound, and of course up to 20 megapixels in camera. So this is our Snapdragon development platform. This is what I'm going to be demonstrating on. This is actually available to developers and really want them to take advantage to optimize and test their applications and games on this device. Really makes for optimal performance. So let's take a look at the demo. See if it's coming up. There we go. So before we get into the graphics, let's take a listen to the audio, listen to the sand rumbling along the hillside. So now as we look at this camera angle, look at the cloth. See how smoothly it's moving. See the reflections of it in the water. Let's also look at the hillside and see the sand. Hopefully you can see it clearly moving across, and the level of detail in the sand. Let's move to this camera angle, and you can see the flames, and see the flames reflecting on the pillars. Then this third camera angle is about the sun, and seeing the rays, and looking at the way the sun shines down on the dragon, and really reflects out to all of you. So very, very detailed. So now let's get into the 4 cores. In the upper right-hand corner, you can see the demo and the different features that we're showing today. In the left is the 4 cores, and you can see how all 4 are being used at the moment. And then the lower left is the frames per second and other metrics. So what we're going to do now is turn off the cores, and you'll see a difference as I turn them off. Now we're down to, you can see there's 1 core running, and the key point is to look at the frames per second in the lower left-hand corner. You can see that's really dropped. And you can also see that the flags are now stuttering. They're not running as smoothly. So let's go ahead and put the cores back on. And you can see the frames per second has gone back up. And you can see how smoothly now everything's moving. So this is great for games, a rich, stutter-free experience. But it's not only for games. Think about how your web looks and the internet web browsing. Think about navigation. All the different things that are going to deliver a great consumer experience. Snapdragon S4 Pro has been announced by a couple OEMs, including LG and Chime, so we're really excited to see those devices come to market soon. So I'm really excited. I hope you guys are impressed and interested in Snapdragon S4 Pro and what it's going to do for you and for developers to create more and do more with our next generation device. Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. Okay, so Snapdragon is really playing a big role in the smartphone segment. It's a big segment. We estimate that there's going to be about 5 billion smartphones sold across the 4 years, 2012 to 2016. Just incredible growth. And we think that in the emerging market, it's not all high-end, but even in the emerging market, we think 50% of that, or over 50% of that, will be smartphones. Just the growth of smartphones, just incredible. And the complexity of the amount of technology that you have to invest in order to create a smartphone is also incredible. And we're just really happy to be enabling that. One of the ways in which we're helping the smartphones get to different price points as well as go after different geographies is to enable a different business model. We came out with a QRD, which essentially is a more completely tested reference design. We've been doing this for a couple of years, and it's now something that enables us to reduce the time to launch. It enables different types of players to get into the market. And it's really a broad portfolio of products now that we offer in order to enable that to happen. And we're really quite pleased about it. We have about 40 different OEMs who are using our reference design today, and there are more than 100 devices either launched or in design right now, soon to be on the market. So it's a new way that we've started to expand our ability to go to market with technology. One of the other big things that's coming is actually Windows RT. The significance really of what you're seeing with Windows RT is you're seeing really the blending of the smartphone world with the PC world. And in our view, what happens is that the key design point, the part that will become more important over and over in computing, will be the things that are brought to it from mobility. And we think Windows RT is a good example of that. It's really about how people are moving on from legacy computing and really moving toward mobile computing. And so in the last several weeks, there's been 2 devices using Snapdragon, the Dell XPS 10 and the Samsung ATIV tablet. Both of them use our new Snapdragon S4. We're very happy to see those devices announced and really the changes that we'll see as mobile computing starts to be even growing even more outside of phones. Okay, if you look at where we think it's going, the phone itself today really doesn't do all of the things that we think it will do in the future. In the future, we talked a lot about kind of things that people can envision, but really our vision is that the phone really starts to, in addition to doing things for you, starts to anticipate a lot of what you need, looking at the environment around you, interacting with the cloud, interacting with different applications to provide data to you in a really much different way, kind of like a digital sixth sense. If you look at the vision, the phone really provides you with a lot of the things that it's capable of doing today, but it really doesn't do. It's interacting with sensors. It can deal with what's around you and really present to you a very different, much like a remote control for your life. And your phone's going to learn many, many things about you that it will use to really improve your life. But it's pretty tricky, actually, when you think about it. There's a lot of things you have to do to keep things private. There's a lot more data than you need. How do you filter it out? How do you use the stuff that's really important for you individually, but maybe not for your friend or for your spouse? And a lot of complexity about how that works and across the cloud, how it works across different connectivity environments. And we're working on all of that today. Some interesting business models have come out of that. We did a trial with a large ad agency where we used some of the contextual awareness technologies that we have that essentially go out and look at different pieces of what's going on around you, present them to you. We did that with a mobile advertising company. And what we saw was that the conversion rates, the click-through rates on the ads actually were double. just because it was able to look at, in a fairly crude way in terms of what we think will be eventually enabled, it can look at that data and it can filter it. It can provide a much more efficient advertising program for the phone. So a lot of technology going on in that, and we're working on that as well here at Qualcomm. So let me just finish off by saying that we think the world is really going to be connected. It's going to be driven primarily out of your phone, but there'll be a lot of different devices that get connected alongside with you. There'll be sensors everywhere. There'll be new applications trying to leverage the cloud. You'll be connecting to many different devices on and off throughout your day. And all of these things we'll be able to enable through our combination of chipset and licensing program that we have. So that's what I have for you today. I thank you very much for your attention. I hope you have a good time here and see all the technologies that we have. And it's now my pleasure to welcome to the stage Joe Harlow, who's the EVP of Smart Devices from Nokia. Joe?